Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're going over Gaming News Consolidated. This is April 20th through the 26th. And what I do every week is I take time to look at videos, read articles, and put it all in one place for you. That's really the goal. So these are roughly getting to be like 45 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes now, and this is what we'll be going over today. So we're going to be talking about Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders and how messy they were. And again, yeah, it was a bit of a mess. We'll have a bit of an update too on scalpers for that. We'll also be talking about Nintendo already raising their Switch 2 editions for some of their games. We'll go over that. We're also going to talk about tariffs. I got part of a video. It is a 3-hour video and it's very long, but we're going to watch like a 4 or 5 minute snippet just to help understand what some of these companies are going through and how that can also affect the market some. We're also going to talk about The Last of Us Season 2 and how that's going. It's not going great anymore, and that probably helps explain why the user rating was so much lower than the critic rating on Metacritic. We're going to talk about Dune Awakening a little bit. We're also going to talk about Marvel Rivals, as they're starting to change some stuff over there. Oblivion Remaster. We're going to talk about Xbox app getting put on more TVs than just Samsung and how they're continuing to spread. We're also going to go over Expedition 33 a little bit, and I think that is a game I'll actually take a look at. We're also going to talk about Warside and Take-Two Interactive, doing some nasty stuff. Oh boy, yeah, there's a lot. So buckle up. Thanks for tuning in. You can always like, sub, all that jazz. Also share the video as well if you enjoy these or any of these really. And then you can always hop onto my playlist and see what else is out there besides just the news. So we do a whole bunch of stuff. So let's go ahead and dig into it. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders went up, and boy, was it a mess. Folks were trying through Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and GameStop. Ultimately, they got stuck in queues and encountering errors. And this was a massive mess. People were literally sitting for like 2 hours in front of their computers trying to actually buy some of this stuff. And it sounds like a lot of people actually didn't get one. So not much of a surprise probably for most of us, but some people were able to get two and got lucky. But yeah, this is still just such a convoluted mess. And others were able to actually go through Nintendo's website and get one apparently. But Nintendo also put out a statement after their whole pre-order session was over on their website saying that even though people maybe got Switch 2s, they may not actually get them at launch on January 5th. Which is kind of shocking. So that means that there was probably more demand than they anticipated. Apparently everywhere is actually sold out right now for the Switch 2, unless you want to pay scalper prices. And then, this is really, really frustrating for everybody. And, to actually pay for something pretty expensive compared to what is normally around the cost, like $300 for the Switch 1, and then to have it be delayed for you, man, that's horrible. And also, there's no idea how long these people are actually going to wait. And scalpers right now, where they're charging basically $800, and so yeah, if you're excited to pay that, you can grab one right away. But I honestly think after PlayStation 5 and the Series X, I think people are tired of scalpers and stuff. I think they're tired too with the PlayStation 5 Pro. And everything, basically, that's ever come out is just getting scalped to death. And it's really getting frustrating. So there's also been pushback, too, for the scalpers. Folks are putting up posts on eBay for a picture of the Switch 2. They're being sure to actually warn buyers to, hey, do not actually purchase this. But they're purposefully putting these out to fight scalpers by putting these listings at $400 or $500. And even though these are being taken down, too, as well, from eBay because of their updated policies with the last whole debacle with the PlayStation 5 Pro. These are still going up actually much faster so far than what can actually be taken down. And a lot of these are at the very first front page of eBay. And so you see all of these posts that are $400 or $500. It's like, hey, a Switch 2 picture, congratulations, please read description. And yeah, in the description, it's actually pretty hilarious. I actually do have a picture as a post on my YouTube channel at Gaming Garbage 22 that you can actually look up if you wish. Just scroll back, a couple of days, and it'll be there. But yeah, I just think this is hilarious because most people, I think, are really getting fed up with scalpers because, again, they're not trying to scalp, 20% or even 50%. They're trying to get like 100% or even more than that, depending on the product. And it's just getting old because now you have people that are just really trying to make profit when these are entertainment items, and people just want others to be able to enjoy the product, be able to get them to somebody that's actually going to use them and have fun with them. But yeah, times are hard for folks, and so we got to deal with this, unfortunately. And if we do have a recession, I don't think this is going to get better. I think this will continue to be a problem, unfortunately. So yeah, if you are shopping on eBay, man, maybe just stay away, but make sure you read everything. Make sure you actually read everything carefully. I like to say things out loud personally so I can hear myself, say it out loud and not make a total mess of it. But yeah, read those descriptions clearly. But I think it's great though that there are these fights against scalpers, so that they can hopefully curb some of this, but I don't think ultimately it'll ever really go away. And but yeah, overall the whole thing is a mess. There are going to be later batches that will come out for the Switch 2, including, according to Nintendo, Switch 2 bundles. But yeah, it's still going to be really hard, I think, probably through the rest of this year. That's going to be really difficult. And the bundles are only supposed to be produced through fall of this year. So once we get into 2026, those bundles are basically going to disappear, or they're not going to be made anymore. And that's going to be a big issue. So yeah, see if you can pre-order. And also, too, there's the whole thing with tariffs. The wording that Nintendo has done is that, yes, we're not going to raise the cost of the console past $450 for the launch of the console. So after the launch, which is still going to be June 5th, it's possible that the price can actually go up into the holidays. I wouldn't put that past them either, because they're still having to pay some extra tariffs, even though there's a 90-day pause on this stuff so far. And even there's been an agreement between Vietnam, main production for the Switch 2, and the United States for 10% tariffs. That's still 10%. So it's still going to cost more. It's still going to cut into Nintendo's margins, which they can definitely afford. Okay, their margins last year were 29%, so they got plenty of room to spare. It's not like they have to charge an arm and a leg for these. But yeah, tariffs are still going to be a problem, too. Also, Nintendo announced that Kirby the Forgotten Lands and Party Jamboree will be an extra $20 for the Switch 2 edition. So if you just want to buy the upgrade, that's going to be $20. And this is kind of confusing and frustrating because the Legend of Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they're $10. So why are these ones $20? I feel like these are, in my opinion, weaker IPs and not as woohoo for people to go grab compared to Legend of Zelda. But yeah, they're charging $20 now. So it's like, great. And we also got to see the amiibos, like they're charging more for those. We got to see they're charging more for all of the accessories across the board, anywhere from an increase of like 15 to 25% for an extra $5 or $10, depending on what it is. And I really feel like, no matter the game for Nintendo, they basically want to charge $80 for their first-party stuff. Whether you're buying the upgrade, whether you're buying the physical edition, whether you're buying, just the entire Switch 2 version of the game, and it's all just really convoluted and messed up. But yeah, a new price for $80 for first party is just crazy. And then too, people are wondering, okay, what are the other studios going to do? What are the other AAA games going to be? What's GTA 6 going to be? Because it's certainly going to be $80 at this point. And are we going to see $100? And what we know, too, with GTA 6 is that they're going to release the campaign story first as one price, and then the multiplayer will be a additional price on top of that at a later date, probably after a year or so, which is great. And then they still got to do the PC port as well, and there's also, whatever version of the casino and shark cards and all of that stuff. So yeah, GTA 6... honestly, for the full experience is going to be a pretty expensive game, and I wouldn't put it past them to actually make it $110 or $120 in total for the campaign and the multiplayer. We'll have to see, but that's my prediction. So yeah, overall, this is just really becoming a mess. And it looks too like actually a lot of the Switch 2 third-party games are actually just going to be key cards for physical copies. So what this means is that the game data isn't going to be on the card or the cartridge. It's just going to be on the servers at Nintendo, and what you'll have on the card is a license to have access, and then you'll download the game, and then you can play it. That sucks. That really sucks. Now, a lot of the first party, apparently all of the game data is going to be on the cartridge. Okay, that's great, but for others, other third-party stuff like maybe Elden Ring and Split Fiction and Street Fighter 6, looks like those are actually just going to be up in the cloud somewhere that you got to download, even though you have a physical disc. So make sure you're actually reading the case for the Switch 2 games to actually see, because it will have a clearly defined label at the very bottom that you can see to see if it's actually a key card or if it's actually a game card that has all of the files on it. But yeah, that is just crazy. So let's go ahead and move to tariffs. This is a big thing. This doesn't just affect gaming; it affects everything else too. And honestly, too, like we know that consumers are ultimately going to be affected. The companies pass on the costs, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, the companies are rich and they can take a hit." Well, they will be to an extent, and some of them might even be closing too, as this will be, of course, most difficult for the small and medium businesses, conglomerates like Fred Meyer, Target, and Best Buy, or Apple. They'll be fine. They'll have some layoffs or whatever, but yeah, let's actually get into this video because I want to share this. And yeah, this is 3 hours. It's really long, but I'll just show you a small snippet here. So here we go.
Our first big meeting is with Height. Height is a computer case manufacturer headquartered in City of Industry, California. This meeting includes unique insights to the actual costs and margin structure of some products, which helps us to understand the real dollar amounts affected by tariff changes. And this kind of access is very uncommon. All right, so this is really important. This is something that manufacturers are reasonably very secretive about, and it's the cost to actually make something, bring it in. It's basically the cost of the good itself, and that means we're going to see margin. This is incredibly rare. Height has broken down the cost of a Y40 and then a thick Q80, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll do a quick preview, and then we'll cut back and explain it.
So I think this is really an explanation of why we can't even afford to bring the products into America any longer.
And I'm here to show you how it is to make a Y40 and what its cost structure is. So before we start planning any product, we start estimating the monthly run rate and how many months it's gonna be in the market. So we start with 2,000 units per month, a lifetime of 24 months, and a total of 48,000 units per lifetime. During pre-production, we had 3 mock-ups that were made. We had an NRE development cost of $30,000 and a tooling cost of totaling $239,000.
NRE stands for?
Non-refundable engineering.
Okay.
So that's like using services from a factory to help do the engineering for the product.
And then non-refundable tooling.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Okay.
So our total pre-production investment totaling $286,000, which amortized per unit of 5.98 or $6. So before everything happened, before February 1st, our FOB price from the factory is 71.75. And you could see all the events that happened, this is blank. So our tariff charge is $0. Our case per pallet, now we go into freight. Our case per pallet is 20 cases per pallet, 30 pallets per container, and 600 cases per container. So now we start calculating how much is per unit's freight charge. $6,000 per container, divide by 600, $10 per unit, 1,500 of documentation fee, trucking fee, unloading fee, and port fees. This is known as the local charge, amortized to $2.50. So the total freight charge per Y40 to bring into the US door-to-door is $12.50. So if we add up that all together, our FOB price is $71.75 plus the freight in $12.50, the storage fee of $2, and an amortized investment of $5.98.
And this is all per unit?
This is all per unit. Our landed cost would be $92.23. In order to sell at $129 MSRP and to have the retail margin of 25%, our Height margin would be $5.27, while we take 5% margin.
Is that retail margin pretty standard?
Retail margins are pretty standard. They are really hard to...
So did you guys catch that? They basically make 5% on their product after all of that. And this is before tariffs.
negotiate that percentage.
Okay. This is basically nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you might even call it a kind of loss leader, right?
Yeah.
This became a product that we were effectively just growing market share with, making about $5. And you can see the retailer, they have no problem with that because the retailer was still making their 25% margin. They're making $32.49 while we made $5.27. And this is pre-tariff, mind you, right?
Okay.
So you can imagine now if you add any tariff to this, the response isn't like, oh, we need to go and reimagine how we build these things. It's this product is non-viable. We can't sell products at this price anymore.
And this is how you get to potentially not bringing them to the U.S.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. All right. It gets worse. So.
It gets worse. So 2018, there was a tariff called Section 301. It was a 25% tariff on certain items. The case was excluded, but that would end. It might extend, it might end during May 31st. So we put a price right here, so we'll show the cost a little later. February 4th, we have the 10% tariff on the cases. So that increased our cost by $7.18. During March 4th, there was a 20% increase on tariff on the case, so brings our cost additional $14.35. During March 12th, there was a 25% aluminum tariff, but this doesn't apply to the case. This applied to some of our coolers. During April 5th to April 8th, there was a 10% reciprocal tariff that was added that increased the cost by $7.18. And currently, we have a 125% reciprocal tariff that increased our cost by $89.
Reciprocal, I guess their word here.
Quotes.
Yeah,
Reciprocal.
quotes. Yeah. Okay.
So you start looking down our landed cost here during different times. Now, during the first wave, it would be $99, and it increased to $106, $113, and then $196. And then May, it would be $214.
$214 for something that they sell for $130. And yeah, I mean, they're losing $109 basically per case. Like, that's money they're losing. Like, that's nuts. So yeah, it's more than just the initial tariffs that we're dealing with. We're also dealing with older tariffs that are stacked on top of that. And this isn't just going to affect cases. This affects anything that is basically being imported into the United States. And stuff is changing so quickly now. Right now we have like a 90-day pause except for China. But like, think of all of the stuff that's made in China right now. I mean, it's over 90% of the stuff at Walmart. What do you think the cost of that stuff's going to be? And right now we have freight that's getting stuck in transit and canceled orders all over the place, including my company. Okay, we sell roughly several million a month to China, and they canceled all of their stuff. Luckily, we found other buyers, but as China becomes non-viable to bring stuff in the United States, well, basically you got to find somewhere else for that stuff to go. So yeah, this is going to be disruptive, folks. And I think while this is a strong arm tactic that Trump is using, whether we like him or not, it is going to affect all of us at some point. And yeah, he's getting some of what he wants from other countries. He's splitting deals. Even China today was adjusting some of their tariffs and lessening some of those and showing some weakness there, some pullback. And but man, yeah, already things have been put in motion, and this is going to be disruptive. So starting into the summer, we're going to be seeing some of the effects of this. And the longer it goes, the more effective, the more of the effects we're going to see. So yeah, I just wanted to share this. If you want to watch the entire thing, The Death of Affordable Computing, and again, this is just, I love this one right here because this is a whole breakdown down to the sense of what's going on. But yeah, this is Gamers Nexus. He's been doing PC stuff for a long time. His channel's great. I love it. And but yeah, if you want to watch all 3 hours, go ahead and take a look because he goes to a lot of different manufacturers to tell their side of the story of what all's going on with tariffs and stuff and how it can be influential and affect us in our daily lives. It's actually really cool. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get back to the rest of it all. Let's go ahead and talk about The Last of Us Season 2. So they had a 10% increase in viewership compared to Season 1 for their first episode, so that's actually really good. Usually you see a decrease. But this is definitely going to drop as they killed Joel. Spoilers, because you didn't play the game. And so yeah, they actually killed Joel in episode 2, not later in the season like some of us were maybe thinking they would, but they actually killed him pretty quickly, even just in the episode. And so lots of frustration there because Joel was the best character, a lot of stuff holding it together. And the rest of the characters aren't probably going to be able to carry the season. We'll see what they do, but I wouldn't expect a season 3 because it's like, well, and this is why so many people, too, if you never played them, were frustrated. I will say this, that players that did play The Last of Us Part 2 they were frustrated by this because they're like, oh, great, wow, Joel is dead. They even killed Joel pretty early in the game. And yeah, this is why a lot of people weren't really that excited or that happy about it, because it's like the character that we all identified with, that wasn't perfect by any means, but you could identify the most with. And trying to protect Ellie, and it's just like, well, yeah, now he's dead. Okay, great. That sucks. And that's why we're not getting a Last of Us Part 3, because they killed it. They killed it. They literally killed it. And it sucks. So anyway, expect the rest of the season to go downhill. There's probably going to be some flashbacks and stuff, but we all know that it's basically over. And yeah, the rest of the season isn't going to go that well. And this is why the user ratings were quite a bit lower than the Metacritic ratings, because this is why. It's like you're killing the best character for the entire thing, and what's the point of watching now? So good luck. Good luck, Amazonia. Yeah, that's gonna be tough to swallow. Dune Awakening, been a pretty good game, been in beta for a while. This is like a survival MMO kind of style of game, and it's had quite a few playing tests too as well. And but unfortunately, it's now delayed until June, so it's not too long. Hopefully, they can polish some stuff, tweak some stuff. But they also have a really big beta coming up in May. So if you're interested, go ahead and hop onto their website and check that out and see if you can actually be a part of it, to help give some feedback, test some of the servers for them, and check out the game yourself, for cheap. So it seems like folks really like the survival side of the game, the cinematics of the game, the look of things, how things run and play generally. But people feel like the MMO side is actually lacking, and that some of the combat too is kind of lacking in the game. So again, there's a big beta in May. Go ahead and check it out. Let's talk about Marvel Rivals. Now, this is going to be a longer one in the story because, well, they're starting to actually add MTX, microtransactions. And praise NetEase, baby, because they do this with every single game that they have. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. So Doctor Strange is actually getting a new skin, and people have already purchased it and been using it. And the skin is from Multiverse of Madness, and it costs $25. So pretty spendy. And we know it would, right? Because it's a free-to-play game. But yeah, $25, that's still pretty spendy. That's a good chunk of money. That's 2 tickets to the theater, actually. That's pretty nuts. And, this can technically be earned in the game, but it's quite the grind for it from what players have been saying. Also, the skin is either bugged or misleading because it doesn't have the hands coming out around the top of the cape at the base of the neck. And so people are wondering, it's like, isn't it supposed to be like that? Is it like, maybe it would be obstructive or something, but the Thor skin is like that. There's extra stuff around that's kind of a mess and stuff. So, yeah, it can't be because of obstruction. And people are saying, too, that they've noticed that the hands are actually in some of the hero screen and in some of the marketing material, and also the emotes for the character wearing the skin. So it's like, yeah, it really thinks it's just kind of a bug that the hands aren't actually there, which is really kind of what they bought it for. It's not just the color scheme, but yeah, it feels like the skin is actually incomplete. That was $25. So either way, the team at Marvel Rivals, they should just say, yes, it's a bug, we'll fix it, and leave it at that. Because, yeah, if they don't actually plan on fixing this, it's going to hurt the trust for a lot of the other player base of being like, hey, if that's what I'm seeing, is that actually what it is? So, yeah, that's not really a great way to start. And this is a new game, too, okay? It hasn't been out for super long. It came out in December, I want to say. And so, yeah, it hasn't been around a super long time. We're almost at 6 months, almost. But, yeah, this isn't really like a great way to start. They've had a wonderful start, okay? And they've done some rebalancing, and they've shoved a lot of heroes in there, and all of the heroes are free, which is great. But again, if your skins are kind of misleading, that's not going to be a wonderful thing. So there's also more skins coming soon, probably for this summer, springtime, somewhere in there. We're getting the swimsuit edition. No, this is not a joke. This this is actually coming, of course, for all of the ladies in the game. And probably the men too, but of course we know what's going to sell. And I wonder too how close to rated X this is going to be. Because if we take a look at like the first Descendant, those are whew, those are pretty freaking close, in my opinion. And these are also, these are Asian developers, and yeah, how far are they going to push that? Because some of the skins already in Marvel Rivals are pretty, pretty something. And it makes me wonder too how much these swimsuits are actually going to cost, and are they going to cost more than Doctor Strange or the bundles and all? I mean, again, they're going to market the crap out of this, and because again, the female skins always sell a ton, especially in Asian games, over in South Korea and Japan and the like. So yeah, that's that's really going to be interesting. But hey, they know what people want, I guess. Because their players are thirsty and to sit there and play video games. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer. The last thing is we're looking at new color options. This is actually cool, coming in 2026. And the color options are going to be for your character skins and stuff. But first, you got to pay 600 molecules, or $6, for this new currency to actually change your color. I wish I was kidding about that too, but nope, here it is, baby. New currency in Marvel Rivals, unstable molecules, and yeah, $6 for a color change. Hopefully, you get to pay for the option to change those colors, but I'm sure they're going to break it down at a minimum to where it's like you pay $6 per hero, and then you'll be able to change as many colors as you want whenever you want. Or they could be horrible and say, oh, to change color, it's $6 per change, per character. Man, that would get expensive fast. But it's cheap. It's $6. People are going to do it. They definitely make some money off of that. But yeah, this is just another thing to expect, toward the end of the year and into 26 is $6 for freaking blue. And if you watch the Angry Joe show, you know exactly what that joke's from. But yeah, it's just horrible. And again, I understand it's a free-to-play game. They got to make money, but this isn't, in my opinion, this isn't going to be any different than Mortal Kombat, than Street Fighter, than Call of Duty, than Diablo. I mean, Overwatch. It's a microtransaction game. Yeah, I think they started really well, and that was probably on purpose. But again, none of these companies are your friends, folks. They're there to get your money any way they can. And if they can have you make an emotional decision right there to pay for freaking blue, to pay for the swimsuit edition of your girl, then, hey, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to use every trick in the book. And they know how to do it, too. Also, NetEase, it's come out that so far they've passed 40 million total players for Marvel Rivals, which is pretty dang good. Estimated revenue so far is about $500 million in the first 5 months. And we know for the first month they made over $130 million. So maybe they are even closer to, $750 million or something like that. But some people are getting this incorrect. They think that so far the game has basically made $3 billion. And that's not the case. I want to correct that here. That's NetEase's total revenue for the last quarter was roughly about $3 billion. They've made $2.9 billion, with Rivals being a big piece of that. So again, it's, they've definitely made some money, and they're a big piece of that 2.9, but yeah, they haven't made $3 billion. So a lot of misinformation on that floating out there. Given long enough, I surely think that Rivals could actually make billions, I'm sure. But yeah, not yet. And I think ultimately NetEase, they're looking for the whales to spend and keep spending. This is why the heroes are free. They're making the gameplay fun. There's a lot of different heroes to test. There's different maps that they're putting in. They'll probably put in new game modes as well. I mean, this is just normal run-of-the-day mill type of stuff that we've been seeing. And, but yeah, they're looking for those whales to keep spending, just like Counter-Strike Go, just like First Descendant, just like Valorant. I mean, any of them, really. League of Legends, EVE Online, Diablo, whatever. I mean, it's just Call of Duty. It's the same thing. And yep, I'm personally sick of it. I just want a game, enjoy it, pay my money, and have fun. That's what I want. Or at least, to some degree, actually do it like Helldivers, where you could earn some of this stuff without absolutely having to grind it forever, and not have the microtransactions be a ton of money. Have them more be like $10 or $15 or even $20 for multiple skins and gear and a cape and a flag and all of this other stuff, right? Actually have some value there. PlayStation Time Tracker shows that Marvel Rivals is number 7 in both the last 30 days and the last 7 days, so it's holding pretty steady, but it's no longer in the top 5. So that means that player counts are actually dropping. If we take a look at SteamDB, it shows that there's 193,000 players in the last 24-hour peak, roughly. It'll probably be up a little bit since it's the weekend, but this is compared to 644,000 at launch. So they still have a lot of players, but they've definitely had some significant drop-off, like over 66%. That's a ton. And so when we take a look at the different seasons, they had from start to first season, they had a 32% drop-off in February. They had another 38% drop-off roughly in like mid-March. And yeah, we're probably going to see another fairly big drop-off again, maybe somewhere between 24-25%. And they pop up every season, but it quickly disappears, it quickly goes back down, and they lose a good chunk every single time. So give it, I don't know, 6 more months? Well, maybe 8 more months, we'll probably be around 100,000, 120,000 players. And that's still plenty to actually make money off of. But boy, I think that's why they're starting to push out some of these other microtransactions, because they want to capture as much as they can before players continue to keep leaving. You know what I mean? The swimsuits, the Doctor Strange, pushing out, changing your colors for $6. I mean, if they've already lost over 66% on Steam, and they're also starting to lose player counts and player time on Rivals, yeah, like that's not great. And I think ultimately we got another Overwatch on our hands. Yeah, like the reason live service ultimately struggles and has problems is because people ultimately know what the goal is. It's not about them. It's about our money. And that's why we quit. Let's move on. It also sounds like more Indiana Jones games are coming, says an Xbox boss. Quote says, there's life in the franchise, so they're not just going to end it here. There might be another movie coming, but since this is on the Xbox gaming side, of course, yeah, it probably looks like we're going to have, and we've already had rumors of this already, but like DLCs, more video games coming, because again, Indiana Jones, The Great Circle, did a really great job. I haven't even finished it myself, not even close, but I'd love to actually be able to do that, because yeah, the visuals and the way it plays and just being Indiana Jones, that's just really fun for some of us. So yeah, I definitely want to get back to that. It's definitely been successful, and yeah, those DLCs will be coming later this year. And yeah, I want to go back and play it sometime. Let's talk about the Oblivion Remastered. Well, this thing was shadow dropped, and boy, is it wonderful for most of us. It captures the true essence of Oblivion. It's got improvements to combat, inventory, real-time shadows, and 4K textures. Also uses old and new voice actors. And it's $50 for the base game and the DLCs. Man, is that cheap. That's wonderful. There's Nexus mods already. And it does feel like the price point ultimately, with the DLCs added and the timing, is to gear up new and old players for Elder Scrolls 6. I think, honestly, that's going to be a launch title for whenever the Xbox comes out. And I think that would be a great launch title. And I'd even do timed exclusive. Or just do completely exclusive. Oh, boy. Yeah, it could be interesting. I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, it also shows a value proposition, too. I mean, whether it's on Game Pass or you're buying it, there's so much content and playtime for just $50. And a lot of us that played it back in the day, we're like completely stoked about this. Most of us are. But I have seen some stuff too, even a comment on one of my own vids, saying that they were expecting more of a remake, not the creation engine, basically keeping everything exactly the same and just rebuilding it and retexturing it in the Unreal Engine. And unfortunately, folks, that is what a remaster is. It is retexturing. Sometimes there's improvements, but I mean, it's the same thing with the Tomb Raider series that I've been playing. It's the same with the dumb worst ports that we got in 4K for Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. It's the same thing with the Star Wars Battlefront collection. It's the same stuff, just with a 4K overlay on it, and it doesn't look better, but it's there. But yeah, what a lot of people want are remakes, and the remakes are like Dead Space, or like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 4. I mean, or even like the trilogy for Final Fantasy VII. Those are remakes, and they are good, but you are going to pay for them. $70 minimum, maybe 80 now. Isn't that amazing? Maybe 90 for physical editions, because yeah, we just love spending money and going into debt for it. Some of us will. But yeah, I think it's important to honestly remember. And two, if you're not sure, especially on the Xbox side, try it out on Game Pass. Pay for a month, try it out. It's $20. If it's not worth it, you can just be done. You can cancel it. You don't have to purchase it. But, I just feel bad for that guy because here he thought he was getting something better. But I reminded him, too, it's like it is $50. It does say remaster right on the thing. That's what it is. And he was just unfortunately expecting more. But I do feel like things should be more clear in the industry as well of exactly what a remaster means, what a remake means. And I wish we had some kind of like dev diaries to kind of like share that difference. That would be cool. But with something shadow dropped like this, you don't really get that. So, it is what it is. Do your research, folks. That's all I can tell you. Right now on Steam DB, it's got an 81%. So, doing pretty good. But again, not everyone is like super excited about it. My own score is 9 out of 10. Currently, its lows has been 102,000 playing the game to now over 200,000 playing the game. This is in its first week. It hasn't even been out a week yet, which is pretty impressive. PlayStation Time Tracker shows it as number 11. It's almost at number 10. It's literally right there. But yeah, it's PlayStation Time Tracker shows number 11 on the charts, and it's only been 5 days. Yeah, number 13 or number 11 for hours played. And last 30 days, it's in the top 50. So, actually, no, I think it's higher than that. Because, yeah, I wrote this out like yesterday, a couple days ago now. Might be in the top 40. So it's actually moving up there pretty good. Again, it's got a couple more days for that 7 days. And, but yeah, the 30 days, I'm sure it's going to climb up there pretty quickly because we haven't even been a week yet. So yeah, there's plenty of time left. But yeah, so far it's great. It's got the jank. I feel like the performance and optimization is worse with the Unreal Engine, and then also with the jank of the engine that it was originally built in on top of that. So yeah, there's definitely some issues there. I've had a crash so far, but if you're interested, you can watch my entire long-winded review on my initial look of the game, and I'll leave that in the description below. And we go over everything, as much stuff as I can get over. So currently, Xbox app, you can get that on your some of your Samsung TVs. Well, they're going to be on LG TVs too now. So 2022 let me start that over. 2022 OLED TVs and 2023 OLEDs. You'll need a firmware update if you wish, and then you can actually download the Xbox app yourself. Newer OLED models and smart monitors, you'll just have to go and install the app. And then also it's going to be on Standby Me screens pretty soon. These are a lot more portable. And then the latest 2025 TVs, the app will actually come pre-installed. So Xbox is really getting its fingers into everything as far as it can, like a virus, to be able to allow access for you to literally be able to play anywhere, play any game you want, on anything. And it just goes to show that, yeah, you really don't need to buy the $500 console anymore. And I think what's going to happen with the next-gen consoles when Xbox pushes out their next thing, whatever that is that this is going to be like a $600 console. And then if you want the cheaper option, again, you can just play it on your TV, stream it through your phone, whatever. Again, you miss some of those features. You don't actually have the files locally with you to play, but you can stream everything and pay for the service. And if you don't want to pay $240, you can go to G2A, CD Keys, or some of the others, and actually just find some codes to get it a heck of a lot cheaper. So yeah, if you shop around and poke around some and you wait for some sales and deals like around the holidays or Black Friday or whatever, or the start of the summer, or even spring break, yeah, you can usually find Game Pass for like $10 a month instead of 20. So big discount there, and it's worth poking around. So I only spend about half the cost, generally speaking. It's been wonderful, all of the stuff I've been getting. So yeah, it's great. I do wonder if it ever is going to show up on Sony TVs. That would be pretty hilarious. Of course, I don't think that'll ever happen. But we also have Panasonics too. So they've been more or less over in Asia, and now they're actually coming back over to the United States, and they are actually pretty good in their quality comparatively. But yeah, I wonder if they'll eventually be on Panasonics too. And what else could Game Pass be on? Because yeah, now we got this Xbox app. You can purchase through the app. You can set up Game Pass through it. All of this stuff. So it's really going to start rolling out, I feel like, on everything. And we'll have to see what the handheld by Asus is like too. I mean, Xbox is literally spreading everywhere. And for, some people where cost is just getting too expensive, buying another $500 or $600 box, well, now you don't have to do that to play AAA games. You don't get to play all of the AAA games. You don't get to play the best experience, but you do get to play. And even with the Switch 2 being $450 now, just paying for Game Pass is actually sounding pretty good. And an Xbox controller, which is cheap. You can find them used for like $40. You can find them on sale for $45 or $50 pretty often, though that might actually start changing. And then there's also the Series S. Again, it's not the best option, but it's cheap. And some people, that's where they are. And, man, I even just heard someone recently. They're like, well, I can pay for this. I'm not a brokey. It's like, oh, come on, guys. Let's not go there. Let's not do that, please. Okay, let's be mindful and respectful of people's circumstances and situations. Because I sure hope people don't, bash you guys when you guys find yourself in hard times. Because none of us want that. None of us should do that. So let's be respectful. Let's be a little bit more mindful. Okay? Let's not be a bag of dicks. Okay? Let's actually be nice to each other. Because, yeah, gaming used to be that way. And we used to trust people. Right? And we really don't anymore. And, there's really no way to change that unless it starts with us. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's talk about Expedition 33. Apparently, this is going really amazing. Now, it did just launch, and I think that the scores that we're getting so far should be taken with a grain of salt, because, again, people haven't played very far. But Metacritic shows that PC is 90, PlayStation 5 is 92, and Xbox is 93, and Steam shows a 92. So low 90s across the board. That's where we're at right now. And I'll be taking a look at it myself this weekend. User scores so far are right in line with low 90s. So everyone's agreeing on what that is. But again, those scores are all within like 36 hours. It's not a ton of time. So it's still really early in my opinion. We should take some time to actually take a look at these, because again, people played for 5 hours, played for 10 hours, played for 15 hours. It's just really, really, really quick. And I know it's like, oh man, get it out there as quick as you can so you can get the views and stuff. But I think that also makes the review not disingenuous, but makes it a little more inaccurate. Because if we take a game like Liza P, where it's great, okay, until you get to like halfway through the game, or toward 3/4, depending on your skill level, it's pretty good. And then you get to the last area, which is insanely huge, insanely difficult and frustrating. And then you get to the very last boss, which just feels like impossible. And then you can't even use some of the stuff you've been able to use the entire game to help you beat the boss. Like that totally changes the score for people, right? And we miss all of that. And so when we hear some of these reviewers, I still think it should be taken with a grain of salt, myself included, right? I try to show you as best as I can, but myself included, absolutely. Because unless people have actually taken the time to play through the entire game, like the Angry Joe show, in most cases, it's really nice to actually know that they've played through the whole thing. They can talk about the whole thing. They can give you a complete and accurate score. Because, 24 hours, 36 hours, that's not enough time. Of just since it's been launched. Because people have lives, people have stuff to do. And we're talking like, wow, you've put like 5-10 hours into the game. That's not very much. Now, if you're talking about game design or you're talking about in the way the game was made and you've done some research on stuff, I think that's fine. But if you're actually doing a review on something, you should probably play it for a while, right? So, I don't deny that Expedition 33 is a pretty good game. We'll see if it becomes a Game of the Year contender. Some people are. But so, a lot of people are really, really hyped about this, but it feels more emotional than anything else. But I don't deny that it's actually a great game. But hey, we will take a look at it. I am curious, and I'll give my own thoughts on it. It is amazing, too, that Expedition 33 has been made by 30 people that are ex-Ubisoft employees. So when we blanket a company, like Ubisoft, ooh, bad, okay, that doesn't mean that all of the devs are horrible there, that there isn't any talent there. It just means that the decisions that were made and the way in which the studio has run or the publisher has ran things, it just means that some people have made some decisions that have been bad. But again, it's not reflective on everybody. And we should remember that. And two, there was talent at Ubisoft, and there still is, I'm sure. Some of the stuff, even for Assassin's Creed Shadows, did really well, looked great. Okay. The weather was awesome. Some of the executions are really cool. But again, as a whole, the game, I believe, isn't going to sell enough and isn't even going to make enough to cover itself. We'll have to see. But right now, SteamDB shows 71,000 at launch, climbing, and I'm sure it's going to climb this weekend. I have no doubt at all. We'll probably get to roughly 100,000 players actually playing Expedition 33. But yeah, it's definitely going to be successful. I mean, they've only spent, I don't know, I think it was like $25 million on the game. So, I'm pretty sure they already made their money back. I have no doubt in my mind. But yeah, very, very good. Very good. Man, we are getting some good games this year, actually, which is great. Come on, AAA. Got to give us something besides GTA 6, which not all of us are excited for that anyway. Oh, yeah, I'll get to talk about that later when it comes out. I'm excited. All right, let's talk about Sky Oblivion. So if you don't know, these guys have been working for over 10 years, I think, on a mod for Skyrim to actually remaster the entirety of Oblivion and make it as a mod for free. And it's actually been really cool. Some people have been a part of the project since the very beginning to help, deal with things and whatever, but it's been really neat that people have come in and donated time whenever they can, or as much as they can, to just help finish the project. And they're basically almost there. It should be releasing really, really soon. But we were worried, too, that if there was an Oblivion remaster, it would overshadow Skyrim. And I don't think it will. Or Sky Oblivion, excuse me. I don't think it will. But I thought this was really cool because Bethesda actually gave them a personal nod. And I wanted to include this in the news this week. The whole team that has been working on it actually got free keys to the Oblivion remaster. And I just thought that was really cool. Bethesda said they have no intention of hindering or stopping the team, stopping the mod. They're going to let it go. And I just wish more publishers were like this. Now, I certainly don't agree with everything that Bethesda has done. But I think they understand, and I really hope they continue to understand, the effect that they've had on players. And how much, too, that even though we don't agree with everything with Todd Howard, that how much of an effect he's had. And I think, too, just having kind gestures towards studios, towards your fans, toward passion projects like this, it really produces goodwill. And it really makes you step back and be like, yeah, it's not just about money, right? It's about the people that are a part of it all, like us. we're the reason why they exist. And we don't have the skills to make stuff that they do. So we give them money to be able to do that. And it's just cool that, they're acknowledging the team. Sky Oblivion's going to come out, and I'm sure tons of people are actually going to download that mod and give it a shot. And I'm sure there's going to be comparisons too. I'm actually really interested in seeing this later between Remastered and between Sky Oblivion. So, and for those that don't want to pay for the Remastered, they can wait for Sky Oblivion if they have a Skyrim copy of the game for PC. It'll be available. So yeah, that'll be really cool. It makes me think too of Hasbro with Baldur's Gate 3. So there was actually a mod made for Stardew that was all Baldur's Gate 3. You had all of the characters in there. You could do the romance and the relationships and stuff. And it was actually a pretty cool mod. And again, it was free. It was just a fan project. But Hasbro was like, nope, absolutely not. That's our IP. And again, it's just the wrong way to do it. And Hasbro is so worried about making money that they're just not seeing the reason why games exist in the first place. Okay, they're pieces of art. They're supposed to be for entertainment. They're to help some of us actually get through life instead of ending it all. And it's just important to remember that. People are what's important. It's not the stuff. It's not the product. It's not the money. It's us. It's you and me. And we should remember that too as we're walking through our daily lives, at work, at church, at home, with our families, with our friends, on the road, everywhere. We should remember that people matter. It's not how much something costs. It's not how much money we're going to spend, how much time we're, quote, going to waste. It's not someone else taking the parking spot, being in front of us, not seeing the green light within half a second of it turning. All of that crap, right? Let's just be human. Let's not, expect perfection from others and make excuses for ourselves. That's not going to work. Yeah, I just think that's cool that Sky Oblivion is going to be coming out. All right, let's talk about Warside. So this is a game I actually talked about a while ago. Some of you are new to the channel. Welcome since then. And I bought Warside. I installed it. I'm working through the tutorial right now. I actually want to get to the actual campaign and do some of the multiplayer. I want to open up some of that for me. But Warside is a small turn-based strategy game that's heavily inspired from Advanced Wars. And if you remember Advanced Wars, they were really big games for like the Game Boy SP. And they also remastered, or maybe just ported over, Advanced Wars 1 and 2 over for the Nintendo Switch. So I'm stoked. I mean, you'll also be able to play Advanced Wars 1 and 2 remaster over on the Switch too, when you guys can actually get one. So right now it's out on Steam. Consoles will be coming out at a later date. And yeah, I will be reviewing this game. It seems short enough that I'm going to be able to play through it all. So I'm going to take some time to do that. And then, I'm expecting to actually get my review out at the end of May, beginning of June. But I will do an initial look just to show you what it's like. But yeah, right now it's $25 on Steam for another day, I think. And then it's going up to $30. So yeah, it doesn't cost very much, but some of the games that Nintendo has, some of the IPs, I just wish they would let them go a little bit. Let some people actually make some stuff with them, or let them go out to other systems that they're not really doing anything with. And but yeah, I'm really thankful for Pal World because it just shows that there is a chink in Nintendo's armor, and that maybe we can't get a open world survival building version co-op experience with Pokemon, but we can get Pal World instead. And same with maybe we can't get Advanced Wars 3, but we can get Warside. And so I'm hoping this just opens up another avenue and that Nintendo actually starts feeling the competition and actually starts doing some stuff with their IPs. Let's talk about Take-Two Interactive. Well, they've changed their policy. This is really disgusting. They've changed their policy with Borderlands games, all of them, including, I'm sure, Borderlands 4 that's coming. And, well, they've done a new EULA, which is like user's agreement, right? And, well, the agreement now allows access for Take-Two to see your passwords, addresses, phone numbers, to actually stop community mods, show your IP addresses. Like, it's kind of freaking bad. Now, most of that stuff's probably out on the internet already. But this is really kind of surprising. And then everyone just scrolls through it, such as myself, and just clicks on it. And it's like, oh yeah, whatever. But again, no one really expects this type of stuff to be in there. Because usually it's related to the game in some way, not just random personal information like this. So yeah, that is incredibly scummy. And people are finding out that there's 150 pings in 10 minutes. That is really, really quick. That's 15 pings a minute. And they're just getting that information off of you. I'm sure they're getting other information too. You know, what you played, how long you played, what you did exactly when you booted it up, what happened when you shut it off. Right, again, marketing type of information to try to get you to spend more money. But I'm actually going to link this video down in the description below so that you can actually see this. And I wonder, too, what Take-Two is going to do with GTA 6. With Borderlands 4. I'm pretty sure it's going to be exactly the same stuff. And can you imagine the amount of information that they're going to get off of GTA 6 players? I mean, they're expecting like $3 billion in pre-orders. Or $1 billion. I think it was $1 billion in pre-orders. And then $3 billion at launch. Another $3 billion at launch. That's a lot of players. So yeah. Figure out what you're going to do. If you do want to play the game and haven't accepted the EULA, just disconnect your connection, I guess, to your box. Start up the game and play it. Have fun. But yeah, that's pretty disgusting. Or play the old 360 stuff. I don't know if it works for the old 360 stuff. I'm sure it works for all of the Xbox One. And also Pandora Collection, or Pandora's Box Collection, which has everything. But yeah, it's all of their games. It's all of their games, even Borderlands 1. So that's pretty disgusting. Let's see. Ghost of Yotei finally got a release date. We got a new trailer. You can go ahead and look that up on PlayStation's website. They posted it. But the release date is a little later than expected. October 2nd. So what we're getting in the meantime before then is Marathon. We got the Days Gone remaster. Apparently, folks are really enjoying that. And then, boy, I don't know. I'm not really sure what we're getting in the meantime. Yeah. Where's Judas, by the way? That was supposed to be coming out relatively soon, but we haven't even seen anything on it. Oh, yeah, we're also going to be getting Death Stranding 2 in June. But we still kind of have this gap. Right, we're going to be getting Days Gone remaster. Maybe we'll get Horizon Online or something by that time. But yeah, and then we'll get Death Stranding 2 in June. And then it's like, okay, a Marathon at the end of September, Ghost of Yotei at the beginning of October. But it's like, what's going to be in the middle? So hopefully their showcase shows something that we can actually look forward to from July, August, and the rest of September. But yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, we finally have a release date. PSN, unfortunately, is removing Resistance 1 and 2 from their essentials. And, or not their essentials, but from their, more expensive versions of PSN. They're removing it from the backwards compatibility list. They're also removing Infamous Second Son, which is kind of surprising. Now, these are their first-party stuff, so why remove them? And no, I don't think, we're going to get what you think. I don't think we're going to get remasters. I don't think we're going to get a bundle or anything. Okay, they already haven't done that forever. Okay, they're remastering a lot of the stuff we don't necessarily care about too much. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious exactly what they're doing, because they have so many other old IPs that they could remaster. And if they did remaster them, and if they remastered too many of them, I don't think people would really want to pay for their fancy service. Because that is the only way to access some of those games now. Which is disgusting, because again, they don't work on the PlayStation 5. Or unless you have some of the older systems, I guess, there's that too. But again, they're paywalling. I mean, this ticks me off. I mean, their entire premium package is just the backwards compatibility list. Okay, I know there's some other stuff, but it's like I don't really see the value there. I would like to actually see remasters. I'd like to see bundles, of course. And if they want to make money, why not put them over on Nintendo? Why not put them on Steam? Put them on Xbox? I would love to see Ratchet and Clank. All of them. $100? Frick yeah, baby. Sign me up. Remaster all those suckers. Let me play them again. I'll let my kids play them. They'll enjoy it. But I feel like they won't do that. Because again, the whole point of premium basically is the backwards compat list. And now they're starting to remove some of that stuff. Why? It's their stuff. It's not like they're paying someone else to put those there. It's their IPs. I don't know. I don't quite understand what's going on with that. But if they're removing some of these, who's to say they're not going to remove other stuff too? That's kind of concerning. Let's talk about Supermassive Games. So their project, Blade Runner, was canceled this week. So there's no official layoffs. But honestly, this doesn't look good. They don't have another project that they're working on. There's no word of them being moved over to something else. The previous projects that they've done, more recent projects, was Until Dawn, The Quarry, which was pretty good. Lion and I actually played that. There's a playlist for that on Gaming Garbage 22. And then they've also done the Dark Pictures games. And I think the very last thing they put out was the Dark Pictures Anthology. And they roughly have 150 employees. They have had layoffs in the past. But yeah, they've canceled their Blade Runner game. So yeah, again, no official layoffs, but I'm kind of worried for them. I'll try to keep an eye on that. Next, Ubisoft has a new lawsuit. They just cannot freaking stay out of the news, can they? Golly, AC Shadows is already out. So yeah, we're just moving to the next thing. Partly too, I think people are just looking for bad news. And so yeah, they go finding for it. But anyway, a governing agency out of Europe is finding that Ubisoft has probably been gathering more data than they should be. Illegally, not even telling their players that they've been doing this. And boy, yeah, this is not necessarily a great look. Currently, if they're found guilty, they'd have to pay $104 million US, or 92 or 94 million euros. And man, that's a lot, especially with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I can go through the numbers, but I don't think Assassin's Creed Shadows has actually been profitable. Because again, they need, by my estimates, they need about 4.2 million units sold at $70 to actually make up the budget and like marketing costs. And then, yeah, all of their other projects last year that didn't make any money. And even one of their projects or two of their projects in 2023. So, yeah, I mean, this is why they did the whole subsidiary thing, Ubisoft 2, basically, with Tencent to get that money injection because at, $1.25 billion. Because, yeah, they're not making money. And if they would stop making generic games, they could actually make something. They should take a lesson from some of these AAAs. Just make stuff like that. Literally, the blueprints are there. I'm serious. We all know it. We all know what they should be doing. But they haven't been doing it since the 2020s. The last big success, in my opinion, that they actually had was Valhalla. That game made them $1 billion. And they haven't had one since. I mean, they need some serious help. So, anyway, missing the May games for next month, and I just wanted to go over these real quick. But yeah, we have Doom the Dark Ages on the 15th, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 on the 16th, Roadcraft, which I'm actually kind of excited about for May 20th. They make like the Mud Runner, Snow Runner type of games, right? Except you build roads and stuff and bridges. We also have Elden Ring Night Rain on the 30th, and we also have Lost Souls Aside, which kind of looked like that Final Fantasy game that we got to see. That is also on. For this week, thanks for tuning in. You can always follow me at Gaming Garbage 22 over at YouTube. Don't also forget our playlists. There's a lot there. There's over 1,000 videos now. It's pretty incredible. And then, too, you can also find me at Twitch at Don't Tread on Thee. And if you enjoy the content, okay, if you enjoy this stuff, if you enjoy the playthroughs, Right now we're going through Tomb Raider. Lion and I are going to be playing finally some more Halo so we can get murdered by the flood out there. And then there's also gaming reviews and initial looks and states of gaming as well, which are deep dives into the industry. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. But yeah, if you enjoy it, go ahead and share the content too. That really actually helps me out a lot. So, and I definitely appreciate that. So hopefully you're enjoying a good start to your week. And, you know, it's a little cloudy over here. But hey, it could always be worse, couldn't it? Some days, you know, we wait for that sunshine. But sometimes you got to travel a while. You got to be patient. Because otherwise, if we try to hurry up the process sometimes, we're missing out on the growth we could have. We're missing out on the growth that's necessary for our future. So with that, folks, I'll see you guys on the next one.